know, so much of the time, we're just lost. We say, please, God, tell us what is right. Tell us what is true. Tell us what is good. Tell us what typeface to use. And from the depths of confusion in our foggy, bloggy world comes the clear, crisp voice of Carin Goldberg. Teaching us and showing us by example that there is right and truth and standards in graphic design, and by God, they matter. Carin is my dear friend of over 30 years. I met her when she came to work in CBS Records cover department in the 70s. She was only a few years out of Cooper Union. The CBS Records cover department at that time was filled with dedicated, passionate designers, among them Henrietta Kondak and Jean Greif, Carin's friend from Cooper Union. We all explored historical styles of typography in our work, and the work would later be called postmodernism or retro, but we didn't think about it like that. We were simply looking for new ways to be inspired and to push boundaries. We were looking for new ways to make stuff, and no one was more passionate about it than Carin. After CBS Records and a short stint at Condé Nast, Carin struck out on her own. She shared workspace with Jean Greif and her husband, the architect James Beaver. It was an ideal situation for Carin. She had begun designing book jackets, and she made hundreds of them for every publisher everywhere. Now, I have to remind you that the 80s were still the Neanderthal age for women in design. Your only real hope of success as a lone woman design practitioner was to be twice as good as any man for half the price, sort of like Jackie Robinson getting to play with Whitey because his talent was too extraordinary to deny. Carin was more than twice as good. She had to be. Being amazingly good at what she did was the only power she had. Otherwise, she'd just be hanging out there without any advocacy or any support system. She designed the book jacket one way brilliantly. It could get rejected, so she designed it another way equally good, and it could be rejected. So she designed it a third way as good as the first two, and it would be accepted and published, or maybe they went back to the second one, or maybe they went back to the first one. Sometimes the designs went through on the first try. It was all random, but the quality level of design was always the same. Always smart, always relevant, perfectly constructed. That was the point. Her covers could survive any design-punishing comment or revision or total redo without being compromised. She knew how to make virtually anything work. She was the master of her craft. And so many of those books are still around, like Ulysses, the Vonnegut series, and Best American Short Stories. They are iconic and viable after 20 years in the marketplace. Today, Carin still works with the same determination. Her stylistic reach is absolutely enormous. Whether she's designing a book, a magazine, or anything else, every design tale is considered and explored. Simply put, she designs every job like it's her last job. In the 80s, Carin began teaching at the School of Visual Arts and has continued teaching there for over 25 years. Her classes are legendary. She's the Pied Piper of graphic design, pushing and prodding her students and ultimately inspiring them to do their best work. Everyone wants to hire Carin's students because she's taught them the craft. After they have Carin, they know how to see. So, what is craft anyway? Is it more than just proficiency? Does it matter? Do we even care anymore? For Carin, craft is an unshakable belief system. It is the belief that the specific knowledge of the minute details in the making of any object are inherent to the ultimate success of the object, and without that knowledge, the object will descend into irrelevant mediocrity regardless of its primary intent. And that's not a very popular opinion right now. Good kerning doesn't save the environment, and clients don't care. But on the other hand, if a designer doesn't care about what gives a typeface its special character, then that designer would be incapable of making specific choices that would give information any special character at all. And then all communications would look as if they were designed by default. And you know, so much of the time, so much of graphic design already looks that way. And so much of the time, we are just lost. And we need someone to tell us and show us what is right, what is true, and what is good. And that's what Carin does. Congratulations, Carin. Come and get your medal. To Carin Goldberg, recognized for her exquisite ability to join intelligence, craft, and evocative imagery for her enduring commitment to design education.
First thing I want to make sure of is that Kanye West is not here tonight. Thank you, Paula, and thank you, AIGA, Sean Adams, Debbie Millman, and anyone responsible for giving me this award tonight. This is an extraordinary honor. To Pablo and Doyle, you are sublime company. Congratulations to you both. This summer I spent 6 weeks in Paris. It's something I've wanted to do for a very long time, in part because it's arguably the most beautiful city in the world, but mostly because being in Paris always makes me truly happy. A few months before I left, I was stunned to find out that the AIGA Gold Medal was mine. I began neurotically ruminating about what the hell I was going to say to you all tonight, and I felt obligated to live up to my roots as a pithy, cynical, wisecracking New York Jew and write a speech that would exhaust all of you with humor and wit and emotive excess. I would impress you with my savvy and my intelligence and show you that I, indeed, deserve this award, if not for merit, then at the very least for unbridled spunk. The French, and Lou Grant, hate spunk. They don't seem to reward wit or sassiness, or but they appear to be stereotypically cool and philosophical. I don't speak French, so maybe, in fact, they are always witty and funny and trying to crack each other up, and I, because of my linguistic failings, miss the nuance. Having virtually no access to the language changes you. Zero language skills forces you to be the basic person you are, without the clever artifice of words. It's hard to be ironic when you can barely ask for coffee. So tonight, I will accept an honor I truly never expected ever to receive, with unabashed, clever-free sincerity and humility, and by thanking those who have inspired my work and altered my life in ways too seismic to inadequately acknowledge. Who knows, if you're lucky, I might even cry. First, I want to thank the Cooper Union for giving me an incomparable tuition-free education, one I would have otherwise never been able to afford. I want to thank Marilyn Hoffner, Director of Cooper's Alumni Relations, who sent me to Lou Dorfman, a legendary Cooper alumnus, who gave me my first job at CBS Television. It is there that I had the good fortune to witness and to learn how extraordinary design is made. I want to express my gratitude and love for my best friend, studio mate, and muse, the late Gene Greif. His friendship and our creative bond can never be duplicated. And I thank my dear friend of more than 30 years, Paula Scher, for her love and support, both personally and professionally. I've often fantasized what it would be like to be in Paris in the 1920s, to hang out with my heroes, Man Ray, Duchamp, Max Ernst, Gertrude, and Alice, and to be at the center of unbridled creative experimentation. As it happened, I have had the great luck to be at the center of my own movable feast in the 1970s and 80s while working at CBS Television for Lou, and then alongside Paula, Jean, and Henrietta Kondak, designing album covers in the legendary art department of CBS Records. And later, designing book jackets at a time when Louise Feely, Fred Marcelino, Lorraine Louie, Joe Bonney, and Paula were reinventing the form. It was a time when I worked for a brave and inspired group of art directors who championed my work and others and fought hard for good design. I hope that all of you here tonight are lucky enough to work with, play with, and learn from visionaries like these. I want to thank my dear friend Richard Wild, chairman for 40 years of the Graphic Design and Advertising Department at the School of Visual Arts, for allowing me to teach graphic design my way, and for supporting me unconditionally every step of the way. I want to thank my kids, the more than 1,000 students who gave me the honor of spending these last 27 years as their teacher. Teaching these fantastic students has kept me on my toes and has inspired and motivated me to continue to question, to experiment, and to explore my craft. Somewhere in this room tonight, and I think they're over there, is a table filled with my past assistants, all of whom are SVA graduates. You made it possible for me to make the work I wanted to make. You dedicated yourselves to me during personal and creative ups and downs, financial challenges, family, motherhood, and all the things that make life both wonderful and miserable. You may have left my studio, but you are still very much in my life today. I love all of you, and I'm so proud of your achievements, and I share this award with you tonight. Thank you, School of Visual Arts, for generously purchasing a table so they may attend tonight's celebration. I would like to thank all of those on the board of the AIGA New York chapter from 2001 to 2004, and again during my 2 years as president of the chapter, for it was one of the most fun, fulfilling, and enriching experiences of my career. I want to thank my brilliant husband, James Bieber, for loving me, supporting me, putting up with me, and for unconditionally devoting his life to me and our son, Julian. He is like no other person I have ever met. And I want to thank my beautiful son, Julian, who was born right smack in the middle of the most fertile, busy, stressful, and creative time of my career. Julian continues to motivate me, inspire me, surprise me, and enlighten me. And finally, thank you, Paris, for allowing me to proudly accept the most extraordinary honor I've ever received with untainted joy, gratitude, and love. Merci beaucoup.